Hi, it's Lexi Oldenberger here, ready to give you my spin on explaining the Trinity. I think the Trinity is one of the most confusing aspects of Christianity, and it's a topic that I've struggled with as I've grown in my faith. But I think exploring it further along with our text, I think I cleared up some of the fuzzy areas that I may have had. So, here we go. How can God be three persons, yet one God? I'm just going to give you some three main points, and then we'll go into those further. I think it's important that we just cover some of the basics of the concept of the Trinity. First of all, the Trinity is defined in our book as God eternally existing as three persons: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And each person is fully God, and there is only one God. Those are the three main concepts that I'm going to go over today. Trinity itself simply means three in oneness. The concept of the Trinity is an extremely important doctrine in the Christian faith. We'll talk later about our responsibility to understand that and whatnot, but really we should know that learning more about each person of God truly gives us insight to see who God is as himself. After all, isn't that what our focuses should be on? Seeking after who God really is? The scriptural basis for the Trinity is probably where a lot of people get lost. One would think, well, I'll look up the Trinity in the index, read about it, and be good to go. Since Trinity itself is never stated in the Bible, that's not really possible. Although the word is never found, the concept certainly is. There are partial revelations of the concept of the Trinity in the Old Testament and even more in the New Testament, when we see the history of the coming of the Son to earth. Like I mentioned before, here are the three main aspects to understand the Trinity. Knowing first that God is three persons. Each person is fully God, and there is only one God. Now we can break those into even further and discover what that really means. First, God is three persons: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It is so crucial to remember that there are three distinguished individuals assuming different roles that we'll touch on later. There is scriptural basis for all of these different people. 1 John 1:1-2 says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God." The with is the part we need to focus on here. This with is acting as a distinction from God the Father, clearly demonstrating the different people. In Hebrews 7:25 it says that Christ is the one who is able to save all those who draw near to God through him, since he lives always to make intercession for them. Here, we see that in order to intercede for us before the Father, it is necessary that Christ not be the Father. In John 14:26 it says, "The Counselor, the Holy Spirit, whom Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring you to remembrance all that I have said to you." Here again, we see the distinctions between the Father and the Holy Spirit. Too many Christians or non-Christians, including myself, this is a tough concept to grasp, seeing all of these people talk amongst and about themselves to each other. One of the biggest questions that arises from this topic is whether or not the Holy Spirit is a real person. It has been questioned that it could be simply a power or a force of God at work in the world, but the evidence behind the fact that the Holy Spirit is indeed a real person is the number of scriptural places where the masculine pronoun he is used to indicate that the Holy Spirit is present in the given situation. This chart coming up here is it illustrates the concept that we just talked about. We see here that the big circle being God is divided among three sections, being the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But we must remember that God's being is not simply divided into three equal parts, acting as the Trinity, like this shows. So we have to remember that it doesn't look like this chart. The next major point is that each person is fully God. Like we saw in that chart, he is not divided among three, but each person is fully God. Again, this is such a tough aspect to grasp, but we know that each of these different people are fulfilling different purposes for the world. Illustrated especially in creation and redemption, we see that during creation, God the Father spoke the world into being, but it was God the Son who carried out the creative works, and the Holy Spirit during this was active in moving or hovering over the waters, like it's stated in the first chapter of Genesis. As far as their different roles in redemption go, God the Father planned it. He sent his Son, who obeyed and died, and the Holy Spirit was sent after Jesus ascended to apply the redemption. I think those examples help illustrate how each person is fully God, really just acting as different roles in relation to the world. Their attributes are certainly different, but they are also considered equal. This chart shown here is just like the other one, but it's showing that the roles of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are not just roles that are added on to God's being. The last major bullet point is the fact that there is one God. It's hard not to just be like, well, wait a minute. Did we not just learn about 3 different people doing different things? All of those persons represent the one essence of God. It's all scriptural based, and the Old and New Testaments can back it up. In Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 5, it says, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Isaiah 45, 5 through 6 says, I am the Lord, and there is no other besides me. There is no God. I gird you, though you don't know me, from the rising of the sun and from the west, and that there is none besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. And then when Paul writes, he says, For there is one God, and there is one mediator between God and men, Jesus Christ. This chart coming up here is the last chart showing that the God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are not just 3 different ways of looking at one being of God, but there is one God and one God only. So again, we've seen 3 different charts of what what the Trinity doesn't mean, but soon we'll see what it does mean. Wrapping up, I hope you have a better understanding of what the Trinity is, but you should too understand, like I had to learn, that it's not something that we're expected to ever truly be able to fully grasp. We should understand the meanings of each person, but not how it all fits together as far as the biblical teaching always goes. We are never asked to understand, so don't let it trouble you. Don't get me wrong, I think it is our role as people to continually grow and know more of who God is, but don't let it frustrate you to the point where you ignore the passages or get frustrated. So, like I said, after showing 3 charts of what the Trinity does not look like, I thought it was only fair to share an illustration of what the Trinity could look like. Here, we see the dotted line showing that each person, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, is equal to the whole being of God. So again, I hope this journey took your understanding of the Trinity to a deeper level, but don't let it get you down when you can't knock out exactly what it all means.